right?
Yeah.
So absolutely, man, bro. The problem is, Leo, that there isn't a running back I really think that fits that mold in this draft. And I love Brees Hall, and I think that he's obviously the best running back in the draft. And I think he works here. I don't like the Florida guy that much. I don't like the LSU guy that much. I don't even like Hassan as much. I have to choose him as my back though. But there's no running backs in this draft, or at least on the top end, that I feel like is the fit as far as what we want to do. Now, granted, that's the benefit of there not being on the top, because there may be some in the later rounds that kind of fit right in that we don't have to worry about reaching for. And I think that's what a lot of people want to do anyways.
Do you think the Marlon Mack signing kind of fit into what they're trying to do as well?
I don't even think Marlon Mack, hot take, is going to be a productive back moving forward. And I've said that on record at least 4 other times. Nothing against Marlon. I actually was a fan of him for the Colts. If y'all don't know, I grew up in Indiana before I moved back to Texas, so I am slightly a Colts enthusiast, should I say. Marlon Mack is that guy coming back from not 1 Achilles but 2.
Yeah,
is a hard ass, okay? Statistically speaking, any back that deals with a major injury, if it's ACL, Achilles, hell, you can have thigh contusions and you still don't have the same production moving forward. If that's the case, if we're going to take a shot at Marlon Mack, we should have took a shot at Saquon, if that was the case, you know? So, no, I don't see the production being the same. Could we get something out of him? What is a 600-yard season for us? You know, I can see that.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, 600 yards would have been a leading rusher this year. I think Mark Ingram was. Go ahead, Leo.
But one thing I was gonna say in response to that, like, yeah, you know, but I think the thing is that more so than anything in this draft is gonna be like kind of laying the skeleton of the team, right? So
right, that's the point, though. Yeah, that's
if
the
we
point.
can somehow, like, you know, let's say like I almost butchered his Hassan Haskins. Like, let's say just in this work, we get him late in the draft. You know, he could at least be a complementary piece to the back that we draft earlier next year. Because when we don't have to worry about the offensive line, when we don't have to address the trenches early, you can take a running back in the first or second round.
You can take John Robinson.
Yeah. You know,
can I circle this for a second too? And I think that, you know, Leo, you've always said about the O-line, and I think that was the part. Again, you sold me on that. I think that I'm wholeheartedly in on drafting O-line either 3 or 13 as fast as possible. Move up in the 20s, get, you know, Zion or such, right? And I say that, and you know, going to the Lovie Smith comments earlier, and looking at what is the reason that Pep Hamilton offense doesn't work, and the reason why we fail at this plan that we have, this immaculate GM coordinator head coach plan. If our O-line doesn't get better, our football team doesn't get better. I don't give a fuck what Lovie says about cornerback, okay? If our O-line doesn't get better, our football team does not get better. We don't run better. We don't pass better. We don't put up no more points than we did last year's previously before. So saying that, we have to get either 1 Akim or 2 Zion to help our interior linemen get better and help our interior blocking move forward. The only way Pep Hamilton fails again is going to be if our injuries at tackle or guard, if we don't address it, and if we don't get a better running back at some point between this year and next year. I mean, that's just the fact.
And I know that people kind of poo-pooed on the plan that they did last year by playing Titus at guard, but it kind of gave you a look at Charlie Heck at tackle. And Charlie Heck is not as bad as, you know,
not a scrub, you know.
No, he's not a scrub. And my thing is he had his experience now, basically a full year experience under his belt. So that if you do, you know, you do have Titus and Tunsil at your tackles, if one of them so happens to get hurt, it's okay now that you can play. You know that you have a reliable second tackle in Charlie Heck, and you can place him there. And so your offensive line is better just based on that plan that they ran last year, just by getting the players like even Morrissey. If Britt goes down, Morrissey has experience because he started, I think, 6 games last year. So he has experience under his belt to actually step in and be a competent backup. So I think
the word you're adding to the continuity is depth, right? So making sure that we have depth that also leads to the continuity that we already have with the players. Yeah, I can definitely see that for sure.
Right. And I think the biggest complaint, I know that we talk about it, is being 32nd in run game. My thing is that if the Texans avoid offensive line and get a guard or something in the 3rd or 4th round and expect him to come in and be a contributor, and then you end up in 32nd or 31st and running again. Now you're going to be like, oh, it didn't, Pep Hamilton's offense didn't work, or this, we're going through all the scenarios, and you're going to be back in the same position that you're in again.
That's my whole point. Like, AD, like, imagine, like, bro, we can be middle of the pack secondary with just corners, any corner. I don't give a fuck. It's in the NFL. But if we don't get O-line, bro, we're gonna be whatever again.
All over again.
This is crazy.
And
they're gonna be firing people next season again.
But even that, we're gonna be in the worst position because you're gonna have to pay a Tunsil and a Titus at the same time.
And then also, who comes out next year? Like, the next year's draft is not even guaranteed to be as deep as this year at O-line. So
this is
this isn't deep at O-line. This is kind of weak, a weak O-line class to me.
Right.
I just feel like you have about 4 or 5 interior offensive linemen. You have about 3 tackles. Everybody else is going to be. We hope they can be something in 3 years.
Yeah, we don't expect.
We hope that they can project to be, something, in a few years, and they may take their developmental type of offensive lineman. Go ahead.
Yeah, AD, can I speak on that, AD? Whenever you're done with that point.
Go ahead. No, I'm good. Yeah, you can go.
Okay, so I had sent y'all a list of my favorite prospects, and a lot of the tackles prospects in this draft are going to have to play guard. Like, there's not a lot of true, really good tackles kind of throughout the entire draft, right? So the first one that comes to mind every time is Darian Kennard from Kentucky, right? 6'5", 322 pounds, like, should be a great right tackle, right? But you go put on his film, and he's playing guard at tackle. Like, you can just see, what I'm saying? Like, and then, like, immediately after that, Salyer from Georgia, right?
Yeah.
These are guys like, great run stuffing guys, like they are like run blocking guys that are like obviously projecting better at guard than tackle at the next level, right? And then even throughout the draft, like Tyler Smith, the only other tackle, from Tulsa, right? And he 6'5", 324. You see what I'm saying?
That's almost perfect guard height right there. Guard size. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like perfect guard.
Okay, so the only other tackle prospect outside of really like the first round, and so I'm counting like the beginning of the big 3, and then like Penning, and then like Raymond, right? I'm talking about like those 5, I guess. The only other tackle that I really truly think has to stay at tackle because you literally can't put this guy anywhere else is Falele.
Right.
Like almost 6'9". You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not putting him at guard, you'll never be able to throw the football over him. You know what I'm saying? Right. So yeah, everybody else though. I mean, Zach Tom from Wake Forest. Like, if y'all haven't watched that guy, Sean Ryan from UCLA. Like, there are so many. Chris Paul from Tulsa might be even better than his teammate. You know what I'm saying? There's just so many guys that are tackles that. Oh, I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry. So, but yeah, there's so many tackles that just project better as a guard, and it's unfortunate because like. That's a project type player, right? There's not big guard prospects later in the draft. There's just not.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, I look at what the Texans did in the second round, in the middle rounds, which is why I'm kind of against reaching, is that you get a project guy like a Max Sharpen who played tackle at Northern Illinois. I think it was Northern Illinois that he went to school, and then you bring him and he's a guard. And then he can't get on the field because he is not athletic enough to be a guard, and he's not as stout enough to be a tackle. So now he's a tweener, and now you're like, well, we assume he can play this. Huh?
They just don't know what to do with him, right?
Right. You don't know what to do with him, and my thing is, you end up with the the same situation with these type of guards who are tackles in college, but then they're tweeners. They project to be guard, but then if they haven't had experience, or you try to, you know, put the square peg in the round hole and it doesn't work, now you're trying to, you know, force the situation and then they're out of the league in a few years.
Well, let me back Bab up here for a second. There are some that project well into being good guards if you look at their athleticism, right?
Mhm.
So the problem that you immediately said was that Max Sharping was not athletic enough to play guard.
Right.
You can almost spot that from the combine. You know what I'm saying? You can spot that when they hit the door by the way their knees are knocking. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, yeah, I get your point on tweeners. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. That's what I would just put it at. It's like you really don't know until you know.
Right. And that's the thing, like I said, and that's why I said this, to me, this is a weaker offensive line class as far as like solid positions. Like I think there's maybe 3 centers. You know, you have Linderbaum, and then after that, it's like a who's who of centers. You got to go down the rabbit hole of YouTube and Twitter to kind of research who these other offensive centers are, you know. And then you got like a Zion Johnson, who's a project at center, who didn't even play center until he practiced it at the Senior Bowl.
So so AD on the PFF ranking, you got Tyler Linderbaum at 19 overall, and then the next true center is at 82.
Yeah,
That's wild.